Hello boys and girls, I am Ms. Shamsuddin and welcome to the Literacy Ladder. I hope you are all excited to explore and learn so that you can improve your performance. For our lesson today, we will be looking at using punctuations in our reading and writing. Can you say what are punctuations and why we use them in language? Now, punctuations, or we could say punctuation marks, are used to indicate to the reader where to pause and the tone that should be used when reading a piece of writing or simply a sentence. I am sure you know some, if not all, of the punctuation marks that we can use. So now, let's just name some of the most popular ones that we use every day. Full stop, comma, exclamation mark, question mark, inverted comma, and very popularly, capital letters. Now for this lesson, we are going to be looking closer at the comma. Do you know what a comma is? Can you say or can you remember how and when we use commas? Now, a comma is a punctuation mark that looks like this. To use the comma, there are some rules that we must follow. So now, we look into those rules one at a time. Rule 1. The comma is used to separate three or more words such as names and phrases written in a series. I'll read that again. The comma is used to separate three or more words such as names and phrases in a series. Let's look at this example. Alan, Joe, and Harry are going to the show. If you look carefully, you will notice that there are three names used in this sentence, and so the comma is used to separate the names. However, it is important to note that a comma does not go before the last name in the listing. The word "and" is used instead. Now, if you look back at the example, you will see that between Joe and Harry is the word "and." So, that's how we use a comma. Don't forget that the comma does not go between the two last names in the listing. Let's look at another example. Doctors recommend orange, watermelon, banana, and pineapple as some of the most nourishing fruits for children. In this sentence, you will notice that the comma is used to separate the names of the fruits listed. And again, the word "and" is placed between the two last names in the listing. Here's another example. People are reminded to wash their hands regularly, wear their mask, and eat a lot of fruits to fight the spread of the coronavirus. Persons are reminded to wash their hands regularly, wear their mask, and eat a lot of fruits to fight the spread of coronavirus. In this example, you will notice that there are three phrases used. Now, just let's step back. Can you remember or do you know what a phrase is? Well, a phrase is a group of words that adds meaning to a sentence. Can you identify the phrases in the sentence we just read? Let's look again. People are reminded to wash their hands regularly, wear their mask, and eat a lot of fruits to fight the spread of coronavirus. Can you identify the phrases? Yes, the first phrase is wash their hands. The second, wear their mask. And the third, eat a lot of fruits. 3 pieces of advice are given, and so we need to use the comma to separate them. But again, look and be careful. You will notice that the word and is placed before the last phrase in that series. Let's look at this sentence. The teacher spoke to Ryan, Jim, David, and Paul about their homework. The teacher spoke to Ryan, Jim, David, and Paul about their homework. Can you figure out where we need to put the comma? Yes, we have to place a comma between Ryan and Jim, and also between Jim and David. So, your sentence should look like this. The teacher spoke to Ryan, Jim, David, and Paul about their homework. Did you figure that out? You're doing fine so far. Now, you would have noticed that as I read the sentence, I paused a little after I called the name Ryan, Jim, David. Here we see that the comma also indicates that we must pause before the next item or name in the listing series. Rule 2. The comma is also used when writing an address and the date. There are a number of ways the comma is used when writing such. Let's look at this example. March 23rd, 2021. March 23rd, 2021. In some style of writing, where the month and the date are written before the year, the comma is written between the date and the year. If the month, day, and year comes in the middle of a sentence, you place another comma after the year. Let's look at it in a sentence. On March 23rd, 2021, I will have a party to celebrate my birthday. If you look carefully, although I use a comma after 23rd, I also use the comma after 2021. And that is because the date is used in a sentence. Here's another example of using the comma with the date. My brother will be leaving for college on June 15th, 2021. My brother will be leaving for college on June 15th, 2021. When writing an address, the comma is used after the name of the street and between the city and country. I have a simple example where you could see the use of the comma when writing an address. The address here is 218 De Silva Street, Georgetown, Guyana. 218 De Silva Street, Georgetown, Guyana. Or your address may look like this: 218 De Silva Street, Georgetown, Guyana. If the address comes in the middle of a sentence, you place another comma after the address. Let's look at that in a sentence. My family has lived at 218 De Silva Street, Georgetown, Guyana for over 20 years. My family has lived at 218 De Silva Street, Georgetown, Guyana for over 20 years. And thirdly, we use the comma after certain words that introduce a sentence, such as well, yes, why, hello, hey. We use a comma after certain words that are used to introduce a sentence. Words such as well, yes, why, hello, hey, and there are some others. Let's look at a few examples of these words being used in sentences. Well, are you going to open the box? No, you can't have $1. Yes, I did see him today. In each of the cases, you see that there is a comma after the words used: well, no, and yes. Now you must remember, pupils, that there are those special punctuations that are to be placed at the end of your sentence, such as the full stop or period, which is used to end the statement, and the question mark, which is used at the end of a question. So be very careful. Now that we have looked at 3 ways we use the comma, let's do a simple activity. Are you ready? But first, let's just recap those 3 rules that we covered before. We said the comma is used to separate 3 or more words, such as names and phrases written in a series. We also said the comma is used when writing an address and the date. We also use a comma after certain words that are used to introduce a sentence. Words such as well, yes, why, hello, and hey. And like I said before, these are just a few. Now here's the activity for you. I'll give you a sentence. You'll take a few seconds. You will try to insert the comma where they have to go, and then we'll check to see if you did it correctly. Our first sentence: Richard, Luke, and Tim are the best swimmers on the team. Take your time and see if you could place the commas correctly. Now let's see. In that sentence, did you place a comma between Richard and Luke? If you did, you are absolutely correct. So this is what your sentence should look like. Richard, Luke, and Tim are the best swimmers on the team. Your comma is placed between Richard and Luke. Try this next sentence. Adam was born October 15th, 2001. Adam was born October 15th, 2001. Let's see. Did you place the comma after 15th? If you did absolutely fine. Adam was born on October 15, 2001. Your comma should be placed after 15. Don't forget your full stop at the end of the sentence. Your next sentence: we will go to the supermarket to purchase biscuits, sodas, bananas, and nuts. We will go to the supermarket to purchase biscuits, sodas, bananas, and nuts. Take your time and place those commas where they have to go. Did you use commas between biscuits and sodas? Did you also place a comma between soda and bananas? If you did, you were absolutely correct. So there should be a comma between biscuit and sodas and bananas. You will notice again that between bananas and nuts, we use the word "and." Jupiter, Venus, Earth, Saturn, Mercury, and Neptune are 6 planets in the solar system. Jupiter, Venus, Earth, Saturn, Mercury, and Neptune are 6 planets in the solar system. Take your time and place those commas. You should have placed the comma between Jupiter and Venus, Venus, Earth, Earth, Saturn, Saturn, Mercury. So in that sentence, you should have used 4 commas. 1 between Jupiter and Venus, Venus and Earth, Earth and Saturn, and then Saturn and Mercury. So your sentence should look like mine. Now for your final try for today. Hello, can you please tell me the time? Hello, can you please tell me the time? Where do you have to put the comma? Yes. Does your sentence look like this? You should have placed your comma after the word hello. Remember, earlier I gave you a few examples of words which are used to introduce certain sentences, and so we therefore use a comma after those words when used. Well, I think you did a great job today, everyone. I sure hope that you had fun in today's lesson. Now for our next lesson, we're going to be looking at some more ways in which we can use the commas so that our writing could be more effective and our reading can be more fluent. So be sure to join me as we continue up the literacy ladder right here on the Guyana Learning Channel.